r/DeadBedrooms. Sunshine Sadness 13 says, I'm sorry you're so broken. I'm sorry you're so broken, that's what he said to me, and I'm worried there's no coming back from it. A few weeks ago, we were trying to have sex, but things failed once again, because of my 33 female, low libido, husband's 34 male, Ed. You can see my previous post about him refusing to go to the doctor for more on that, though that post was super raggy, because I was hurt and angry. He didn't immediately get up to leave, so I settled for cuddles and kissing instead, and thought maybe some sexy talk could be fun. So I asked him about sexual fantasies. He just shrugged and said he didn't have any. He's only ever shared one with me, and that was over a decade ago. He gets really uncomfortable talking about sex in general, so before sharing mine, I asked if he wanted me to tell him. He said sure, so I did. I told him basically that I wanted him to spank me, tie me up, frick me, and then tell me I'm a good girl. It was far more detailed than that, but that's the basic idea. I know that stuff is a little kinky, but I didn't think it was crazy out there. And his response was to pat my arm and say I'm sorry you're so broken, and now I can't unhear it. Every time I think about initiating, I hear it. And it stopped me from even trying a few times. Every time I try to masturbate, I start thinking about one of my fantasies, and it gets cut off by the echo of him saying I'm sorry you're so broken, and then I can't do it. I've gone from masturbating 5 to 7 times a week to 1 to 2 times, and now I feel dirty afterwards instead of good. Fast forward to a couple nights ago, we were having a discussion about sex and I asked him if there was anything I could do to help him be more interested. I told him I'd be willing to try pretty much anything, save my hard limits, at least once. He said there was nothing. I asked if there was anything I shouldn't say or do then. He said there was nothing. Then he offered to schedule sex with me. He gave me 2 days a week, where we'll try to have sex. I was torn between excited by the prospect of sex twice a week, something that hasn't happened since before kids 6.5 years ago, and confused by the specific days he suggested. Curiosity got the best of me, and I asked why those 2 days. They seemed odd choices. And he kind of sheepishly admitted that he picked those days because there was less important stuff to do in his video games on those nights. He insisted that he didn't want me to feel like he was scheduling me in between games, but that's what he's doing, right? And it kind of confirmed for me what I've suspected for years. He prefers video games to me, and that hurt. Still, I accepted the offer because it felt like a genuine effort on his part to try to make time for me and our intimacy. But I'm a little worried now that when we try to have sex on the scheduled days, it'll now have 2 huge barriers to my own arousal. The fact that him being scheduled around games he plays for hours every night, and that refrain in my head of him sorry you're so broken. I don't know fully what I want from all of you here. Advice, sympathy, someone to just wallow in misery with. So give me what you have, I guess. One thing I do want to ask is, any of you who have scheduled sex, did it help at all? Or did it just feel like you were a chore your low libido partner was checking off their list? Unlikely Gift 9154 says, don't let him make you feel bad. What you described is barely even kinky. You are not broken, you have a healthy interest in sex. More 108 says, you're not broken, he's the broken one. P. Ken Billen says, you are the one with limp dick syndrome refusing to see a doctor, but I'm broken? Don't think so buddy, but thanks for sex shaming. I Like Concrete says, what a gross, damaging, calculated thing of him to say. The fact that he said it proves without a doubt that he is the broken one. OK Second 8924 says, I'm female, there's no way scheduled sex would work for me. You could scratch this itch pretty easily cheating and give you some confidence in bed. It's what I'm considering doing. The sex shaming is awful. My man at least pretends he is interested, though I know by now nothing beyond vanilla will actually happen. I could live with vanilla, it's the rejection that's killing me. Throated Deeply says, I told him basically that I wanted him to spank me, tie me up, frick me, and then tell me I'm a good girl. It was far more detailed than that, but that's the basic idea. I know that stuff is a little kinky, but I didn't think it was crazy out there. And his response was to pat my arm and say I'm sorry you're so broken, and now I can't unhear it. That disgusts me, and it should absolutely bother you too. You decided to be vulnerable with him and share something very personal, maybe even a bit scary, and what did he do? He trashed you for it. He chose to project his inadequacy on you in a pretty vile way. Damn. If that isn't the fastest path toward contempt and disrespect, I don't know what is. This isn't going to be easy to come back from. You may decide to choke it down. Or hide it in a corner and try to forget/forgive, but that will only cause it to resurface somewhere else down the road. More to the point, it's painfully evident that the two of you have completely different points of view on sex/intimacy, not to mention priorities in life and relationships. You didn't mention kids, and you're still young, so at least consider another path. There are so many men out there who would cherish the kind of vulnerability you shared here. Secondly, he clearly has different priorities. When someone shows you, or tells you who they really are, you be wise to listen, and I think he just told you. He prefers his gaming buddies to sex/intimacy, and probably many other things, and isn't interested in vulnerability from either of you. What you do next is up to you, but it should not involve kowtowing to him anymore. Don't set yourself, or your needs, on fire to keep others. Ginger Cater Lane says, scheduled sex works for me as an LLF. But not obviously scheduled. He doesn't know we're on a schedule. The only time we can realistically have sex is weekends, because we don't like together. The schedule is for me, so I can feel prepared for the sex we are having. It's not duty sex, because I'm not making myself have sex I don't want. I'm just giving myself the extra time to get in the mood. Shave my body, make sure I feel clean and sexy. I read erotica a lot of the time, so my mind and body can get on the level he automatically is at anyway. I've also gotten better at retraining my brain not to dread this time of the week and try to actually get excited about it. This is why spontaneous sex wouldn't really work for me at the moment. So scheduled sex can be a positive thing. I think it depends on his intentions though, and how much work he's willing to put into getting on your level. r/DeadBedrooms. Salt Witness 5839 says, found myself here after deciding to just give up. I've been married for 25 years and I think I'm finally broken. 2 grown kids, 1 in college, 1 not. I've had a successful career in business. We raised our kids in a beautiful home in a nice neighborhood. They and she wanted for nothing. 7 to 8 years ago, she had an affair, and we almost got divorced. Sent me into a bad tailspin. But we went to counseling, and things seemingly got better. 2.5 years ago, we bought a beautiful ranch, and last year I sold my business and we moved here permanently with a substantial nest egg. It is my dream home. But this loneliness remains. But it got to a point where sex just faded away. She just wasn't interested, and after a while she just treated it like an unpleasant chore, which made it worse. I've tried to talk to her about it a few times and it's always the same. She blames medication she takes for anxiety, and she blames menopause, claiming she's too dry because of it. So now she gives me a very unenthusiastic hand job from time to time, and pushes me away if I try to touch her. So it seems like it has gotten worse, not better. So I stopped trying to talk about it because we've had the same conversation a number of times and just go back to where we were and nothing changes. I just resigned myself to acceptance. What else am I going to do? We had a huge fight yesterday. I didn't mean to say anything, but I lost my temper and it came out. The same conversation followed. Medication, blah blah blah. Menopause, blah blah blah. It makes me want to puke to do this all over again. It's painful and humiliating for me to talk about how it makes me feel, and it seems pointless to go through that when it doesn't change anything. It's been going on for so long that I feel very ugly and repulsive. I'm tired of it. I barely slept last night. I think my only hope is to find a way to settle into this being like roommates who get along well. It's basically been a platonic relationship for several years now. If I divorce her, the property and all I've worked for in my whole life, this dream of this ranch, will be gone. Then what? I have to find a way to just accept that this is my life now. Lots of people deal with worse, but it sucks. I just feel so terribly sad, right? Faye Good Life says, living in a sexless marriage with a confirmed cheater in your dream home. Sounds like a nightmare. I'm alone living in a 1-bedroom condo, so much happier than you sound here. Don't let possessions trap you in misery. They aren't worth it, and neither is she. Green Mundancing says, what's the use living in a dream home if other aspects of your life are lacking? Buy a smaller ranch with your share. Talk to a divorce lawyer to see where you stand. Good luck. Anik67 says, you need to redefine your dreams, then go get it. Dreamgirl says, I wonder why people even marry. Eachson says, if you have a vast fortune, surely you have a lawyer you trust. Tell them you want a realistic picture of what a divorce will cost you. Splitting a fortune down the middle might be a really great deal if you are a saver and wife is a spender. Do you enjoy being retired on a ranch at whatever age you are? I would be bored as hell, and maybe your wife is too. Again, you didn't say ages. Menopause doesn't mean no sex for a woman unless that's her wish. You are allowed to not forgive the past affair, and you are definitely allowed to not forgive the current neglect. Sometimes when somebody gets caught in an affair, what they learn isn't to not have an affair, they learn to do a better job of not getting caught the same way next time. Aggravating Big 9074 says, sounds like you've done everything for this woman. I don't know the details of the affair, but I guarantee you these excuses she gives you weren't used on the other guy. You deserve better. Luke Card Walker says, the pathetic excuses and lived agony in the dead bedroom is endless. Frasco 1214 says, don't accept that this is your life. Everyone deserves to be happy, and staying ain't going to help. Your resentment will fester and keep growing. Have you thought about asking for an open marriage? Doesn't work for everyone, but it's an option for your needs, or you divorce and lose half. I know it will suck given how hard you work to get where you are, but damn, if you're not happy, what good is it to stay? That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.